keeps us from having to pay for it. If we didn't do something like that, so we get some energy in that we don't have to pay for it. If we didn't get some extra energy, we couldn't possibly ever go, you know, we couldn't get more energy in those batteries. We forcibly pay for it. So the whole thing is, see, work is when you forcibly change the form of energy. Just to move energy doesn't cost you any work. It's only when you change the form of it.
I hate to give up. So if you guys will acknowledge that if I do this, I'm going to give up a little bit of my charge. But you can see it. Okay, Tom, I'm going to give me a pipe here. You see the glass of water there on the right hand side with the black thing in the center. I put that black thing in there so when I put the piece of aluminum in the water, you can see the bubbles. Right next to that in the center is the aluminum is underneath this vial of, that's like about 2 pounds of mercury. And I'll just get this little rod here and I'll point to it. This is the water. This is the mercury in the glass beaker. The alkyl aluminum, you can see the tape right here. It's taped down here, the piece of mercury. This has been in there for a week now. And right here is an untreated piece of aluminum. And here's where I'm going to pour the mercury back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in front of you. I'm going to pour the mercury back in. This is the treated piece of aluminum. So you can see me pour it in. Nothing hidden here. And you can see that the piece of aluminum's in the bottom down there that's been treated. And what I want to do is start to get the mercury all off there. I'm going to stick something down in there to get it out. I'm going to get it out and untape it right in front of the camera. There's the piece of mercury that was taped to the bottom. And if you do this experiment, make sure that you wash your hands real good after this. Okay, so here's the treated piece. Now what I'm going to do is take the untreated piece and set it here in the water. Tighten up this mercury, put it back here, get this out of the way. I'm going to come up on this untreated piece of aluminum. You're going to have to pause with me here a minute, Tom, while I get this battery changed. So anyway, here's the jar with the untreated piece of aluminum, Tom, and as you can see, there's no bubbling whatsoever with the untreated piece of aluminum. Alright? But we'll leave it in there just to make sure. Let's get this up a little bit. Let me put this up on a box so that we can get it up a little bit higher. We might be able to get a little bit better picture. We'll put it up on this solder roll. So sideways, so I'll try to get the camera so you can see the piece of aluminum there. That's the untreated piece. And you can see it hanging off the end there. And I'll try to get it a little closer. And what I'll try to do is get it off autofocus. And I'm not quite sure you can focus this camera. Let's see here. Alright, let's see now if I can focus it by hand. Yeah, you can see the piece of aluminum sitting right in here, and there's no bubbles. So now I'm going to take the untreated piece out, and I'm going to put the treated piece in. I'm going to try to get this mercury mercury residue off it, but I'm going to put the treated piece in the water. Now right away you can see that there's bubbles coming out of that piece of aluminum there. You see the bubbles rising up? Well, let's see if I can get this a little closer. That's as close as I'm going to get it. But you can see the bubbles rising up there out of that piece of aluminum. And it's just sitting there bubbling like mad, Tom. You can see him, it looks like carbonation coming off there, see? And we just let it sit there and bubble. See if I can get the light on a little bit better for you. But it's just fizzing away in there like mad. Yeah, you can see a bubble in there. I can see it through the lens here. Pretty good. Let me make a little focus adjustment here. And that's our experiment, Tom. You can see that it's just bubbling away. I'm showing the battery symbol again, but I want to go ahead and just get as much of this as I can as this thing bubbling away here. That proves your point. You put that piece of aluminum underneath the mercury. This has been 5 days, 1 full week. It's Wednesday night, and the untreated piece will not do it. So there's the releasal. You can see the little bubbles coming off. There's looks like carbonation there in the glass. And it's just solid full of bubbles. I'll see if I can spin it around upward, make it stand on its edge. Yeah, there we go. Let's leave it flat because it looks better that way. As you can see all that bubbling going on there. Pretty big bubbles too. Just looks like carbonation. Coming off that edge, especially towards this side over here. Let's pause here and see if I can get up a little closer. That's about as close as I'm going to get, and you can see it just bubbling away. That's as good as focus as I'm going to get through this glass here. But now, as a little time went on here, Tom, you can really see it start to bubble away. There you go. So that's a pretty good indication that you're right, Tom. The experiment's successful. So I'll just let it sit there and bubble away until the camera runs out here. That's throwing off some pretty good bubbles. We'll just leave it there. But anyway, as you can see, this is an immediate thing, Tom. I've had to change a battery a couple times here, but because my battery was dead to begin with and I didn't know it. The thing here is that if you take that out of the water, the bubbling ceases, and then you can use that any time you want to get that hydrogen and oxygen bubble up there, and you can see it bubbling pretty good. But let me just switch it real quick for you, and I'll show you. I'll take it out of the water and we'll put the regular piece of aluminum in. You don't get no bubbles. You don't get any bubbles at all out of that. And now I'll take this one out. And you can see the minute I put it in the water, it starts to bubble. See that? That's probably one of the best experiments that can be done to prove your point about how you can alter the nucleus. Now I've combined two things on this tape. In the front you'll see the irrigation system that I put together, and then the Rhonda will say hello to you and Doris, and then your experiment here underneath the mercury. Now I'm going to show you something else here that's a little bit different. If I have time here, I don't run out. I'm going to take this treated piece out. And this is the treated piece. And this is the untreated piece. Alright, here, Tom, you see, the untreated piece I can cut real easy. I can take that, put that in the snips, and cut that. And it cuts damn easy. Now I got 3 pieces there. But what I want to do is pick this up just a little bit, like to the edge there, so you get a better view. And the treated piece that was underneath the mercury, I just can't cut that sucker, Tom, no matter what you do. And I mean, I'm pushing on this son of a bitch, I can't cut it. So that's all I can do to it, is just put a line across it. I can't cut it this way, I can't cut it the other way. It just doesn't want to cut. I can't cut it. So I wanted you to see that I just cannot cut it, and I'm pushing down on this sucker. But the untreated piece, I can put it in there, the same force, and it cuts. Just like that. Now I'll put it back in the water and let it run itself out. It gets harder, by the way, when you now that I've cut it, you'll probably see better bubbles here. I tried to dent it there. Yeah, now you can really see the bubbles. So I would say that tells you something. That tells you that when aircraft aluminum's underneath pressure from a scalar potential, that's exactly what happens to the metal. It no longer flexes, so it breaks, it cracks. My battery's going to run out now, so I'm going to say good. Tom, I couldn't stop the experiment here. I want you to see something. That the voltmeter, I've stuck 2 of the same type pieces of aluminum in this jar, and the voltmeter is showing a negative response when it should be a positive response with this water. So if I reverse the meter over here, actually what we should do is measure current. You can see this to DC minus. Then we're reading about well, let's see, 2, 1, about 1/10 of 1 volt. And I don't know what the current is. I don't have any current. It's in microamperes. But that's all we're reading. Now what I'm going to do is take this electrode out and put the one that we treated in here and see what kind of a response I get. Look at that, Tom. You see? It's liberated the electrons in a negative response because it's not reading positively. It's reading negatively. So that's an indicator right there that that piece of aluminum that we treated now is bubbling away. Look at this. I'm going to try to get this closer. It's bubbling away. See it? It's bubbling away. The other piece is not bubbling. And look at the voltage response. It's a negative response because if you look at the meter pointer right there is on DC minus when it should be, this should be the positive electrode, and it's not. It's the negative electrode. And as that aluminum reacts, have a look at this meter. It's wavering around because of the bubbles on it. See it? So I couldn't stop the film right there. I had to try this experiment on this same film so you know that when you use a scalar potential that the response of that unit's output is negative. But look at this thing bubble away. I'll save this piece of aluminum and send it with a film. I'll dry it off and you throw it in some water and see if it works there. It's really bubbling away. Okay, and I'll end the tape right here, Tom. Back to this again, Tom. I can't end the tape right here because I got to tell you something. This piece of aluminum is extremely hot. Extremely hot. And I'm going to show you that and get it on the meter here. And it's turned into a powder now, but I want to catch this on the meter. Once it reacts with water, it's extremely hot. And you can see the gauge going up here. It's almost at 100 degrees now, and I'm just laying this thermometer on top of this piece of aluminum. So the negative energy is extremely hot. It's a hot energy. I want you to see that not only does it react with the water, put out a voltage in the water, it is extremely hot when it's doing this. It's not cold, but yet it's giving out a cold energy. So what's happening right now is it looks like this piece of aluminum, as the water dries out, and look, it's all crystallized here. See? I don't know if I can send this to you and have it work, but the aluminum has actually broken itself apart here, Tom. It's actually eating itself up in the air. I don't know if you can see all that little powder stuff right there. This aluminum is actually eating itself up in the air. So when you throw it in water, this is what's going to happen. But what I will do, I will tell you this right now, is I will treat another piece. By the time you get this tape, then I will send you the 2 pieces, one treated and one untreated, and you throw it in the water for yourself. So I'm going to end the tape right here. I don't know if this is workable now or not, now that the air got to it. It probably still is. But I'll send it to you anyway in the film with the powder that came off it. And it smells kind of real funny, Tom. But it was hot. So I'll end it here, and I'll just send the stuff. These are the magnetic units. There's the first set of spins, rotary unit, flat magnetic unit. This is the yard. This is the second rotary unit feeding this set of valves. So there's 4 opposing south poles right there in a rotary magnetic unit, and that's to spin the water 4 times in 4 separate spins like a whirlpool magnetically. And that's this yard untreated first, without the magnetic water. This yard has been treated with the 2-pole unit just off the regular garden hose. And they're just putting these in now. And I'll show you the magnetic unit. This magnetic unit is the unit that I use to treat the yard first. Just the front yard. And now I'm installing these magnetics permanently. But the 2 south poles are opposing so that a super beam is forced into the water. And this is the kind of yard, or how the grass grows after a magnetic treatment of the water. This is a couple of weeks. This would be the front yard after a couple of weeks outside of what they're digging up to put the magnetic units in. You can see the grass grows after the magnetic treatment very thick. Look at this clump out here, right where the magnetic unit had been sitting with the pump. These are where they're going to bury the valves. And this is the yard after a magnetic treatment with the water. And this is just before they put the sprinklers in. This is about 1 week's, 1 to 1.5 weeks growth. This is after the magnetic treatments. What happens to the grass? This is how it looks. This is from the other angle of the yard that's been treated, and just across the street. If we look at that grass doesn't have the same luster and refuses to grow, or only grows so high. And you can see it's evident in the lawns. can see it across the street that the lawn refuses to grow like this lawn. So one lawn has been treated magnetically and one hasn't. Here we are looking at where the magnetic spray hits the ground. You can see what the rest of the lawn was like before, and that's solid rock out there. But there's something that I've been working on here. This lawn was all dead, and this is what the lawn looks like now. And you can see that this has been reseeded and hit with the magnetic spray, and it's just all popping up now. But all this was dead. And these trees back here have a unique collector, and I'll go over there and show you that collector, and it's a current collector. So hold on a second. These are the current collectors. They're copper rods inside iron pipes and silicone sand, and they produce about a half a volt at about 40 or 50 microamperes. Now you can see here that what they do is they draw the water from underneath the ground here. This sprinkler, see the little pipe there? The overflow goes down there and has to pass by these collectors. And then they feed the root system of the tree. And if you look around here, you can see that it's damp around the root system there. But there's about 40 microamperes of current flowing into steel wires underneath into the roots on these trees. And this is the way the fields look. It's absolutely barren and dead. And this was all dead except where they put the sprinklers in, and now the magnetic spraying units are taking care of all of this. And let me show you something real interesting here. The yellow patch, or that brown patch, hasn't gotten any magnetic water. And it was dead. And this green patch is where the magnetic spray hits. But now, there's something interesting here. This has all been reseeded. The temperatures are going down to 30. I'm going to show you what breaks the nitrogen out of the water now. These are two stainless steel pins, and there's a magnetic rotary unit right there. And these two pins are ground with tips and sealed in the pipe. And in this transformer arrangement with a rectifier, and you can see the current here in the line. It's about 40 milliamps to 75 volts, and it diffuses the water and puts an electrical charge in it, which breaks the nitrogen out, which makes the lawn go green. And this is regular house water. Now this has all been electrically watered. And the other lawn is just on magnetics. The brown you see in there is the ryegrass going dormant. Since I'm making this film, Tom, I'll show you the house. This is being electrically watered now with the unit that I showed you. out here. And this 1 acre back here is all mine, all the way down. And this is the shop that I built. And of course in the background you can see the house. But I go around and get you the front of the house. We'll go around the side here. This is the back of the house. And there's the shop once again. So I have all this land all the way down to that next house there. And I'll go around and get you a front picture of the house. This is the front. So here's a better picture of the front of the house. With a shop in the back. Here's Rhonda. She wants to say hello to you both.
Hi Tom. Hi Doris.
This is sort of the inside of the shop. We're not quite all set up yet. But let's see if we can get pictures in here. This is sort of the shop, 1,650 square feet.
They were your friends.
We're starting to get organized.
I was ready to die to save him. We said a prayer, and then we waited for the dawn.
Then over here,
Desert storm tonight.
there's a garage, and we're still stacking up stuff and getting stuff undone in here. As you can see, we got a lot of stuff to get all straightened out. And then if we go back here, is where we have the machine shop. Back in here. So it's quite a big shop. Then we have daylight windows all the way around. So this is basically our whole shop that we built here. And we're getting down to building things, Tom. Now if this works, Tom, then what I'll do is I'll use the earth for current, since it's got a good current, and right underneath here is the aquifer. So that field out there I'll transform. I'll run its irrigation water down at the far end up to the center, and I'll use all earth forces to generate the nitrogen and magnetic spins to do the fertilizing. And I'll keep a day-to-day record on it. But so far, it's brought this dead lawn completely back to life with the magnets in the line. And now I'm trying to separate the nitrogen out of the water so that it's just through electrolysis. So it's just like as if it rained. Magnetically charged and electrically charged. So we'll give it a try. This is only 1 or 2 days now on the dead part out there. The green part is where the original magnetic spray in the sprinkler system has been hitting, but this other system is sort of a makeshift system just to get water out to that area, and I can do all my experiments on that pipe. The mountains over here are towards the Indian reservation, and that's all forest up there. all the way around, and Coeur d'Alene Lake is this direction, although I should go up and film the lake, Hayden and Coeur d'Alene. But those mountains are all forest up there too. I'll get you a better view here. The house faces Canfield Mountain, and that bare spot there is where a fire took place 10 years ago. Some Girl Scouts lit that fire. But basically it's all forest. This is sort of the neighborhood. And I'll see if I can't get some pictures of the lake in here for you.